What is going on, everyone? AP over here at Run Pure Sports, bringing to you the Strokes Gain Show. Here with my two-man guys. We got Snyder, we got Hoop. Hoop, what is going on, my man? How was last week, and how are you feeling about the event this week?
Yeah, last week was decent. Had a sweat going into Sunday. Had a nice team in the 555. Fell a little short. I believe finished in the top 10, but wasn't enough to get it done. Needed like Lahiri, I think, and Harmon were the two that kind of didn't do me terribly wrong, but didn't make that push on Sunday to get me over the hump. But it was a good week overall. This week I like the field. I like what we're seeing here. We have some top end guys, obviously, that we'll touch on, and overall, I think it's a pretty solid field. So, actually, looking forward to this event. And it's if you're someone that doesn't like Birdie Fest, you might want to sit out this week because I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of birdies and eagles.
Yeah, really loaded field. And one thing that makes me just kind of like, a little bit cautious. I mean, I love it. Love the loaded field. But in these Birdie Fests, we tend to see a lot of variance. And we can get some unknowns that win, kind of like last year. KH Lee got the win here. So I think it's going to be a really interesting tournament week. I think we can get different. And I find myself like finding it very easy to fade certain guys, which we're going to all talk about. But really looking forward to it. Snyder, what's going on, my man? How was last week? And how are you feeling about the contest this week?
Last week was all right. I just didn't have the right combos, and I was off of Mr. Hama. He proved to be there. I mean, his game has definitely improved over the last year. He's definitely on a different level than what he was the last couple of years. So you got to give it to him for that. But I was overweight on Fitzpatrick and Cam Young. I had both of those guys in my core, so I was close, but nothing to like write home to mom about or nothing. But I do like this field this week. We've got some pretty big names in this event as we're leading up to next week's second major of the year, the PGA Championship. So I think a pretty interesting field here we got to break down here. So I'm looking forward to this event here this weekend.
I know it's hard not to like look ahead. We got Tiger next week. We got Phil. We haven't seen or talked about Phil in forever. The reigning PGA champion, I believe. This is PGA Championship, right? John Rahm won the U.S. Open. Okay, yeah. So we'll be great to see him. We got a phenomenal course this week. Phenomenal field. Really good event. Good contest on DraftKings. It's going to be a profitable week is what I see. For me, last week, I did okay. Like I didn't have any sweats or anything like that. Homa and a few others, really helped me out late. Workbench play, let us down. Party Martin Laird also let me down. A guy I was high on, but it's a new week, new time to find some winners. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Helps us out each and every week. Helps us to keep this free. We could just like turn it off like someday, right? Just like go premium only. I mean, that's kind of the risk if we aren't hitting this like button, right?
100%. I mean, it's a very easy. I mean, I'm not the producer, but I'm fairly certain that it is literally one click of the button to make it premium. So it would be an easy transition. All we ask is that we get some nice number of likes, and that we see the subscription number continue to rise, and we'll stay here. But if numbers don't continue to uptick, then we'll have 2 premium golf shows each week.
All these people out there are like calling our bluffs. They're like, these donkeys say that each and every week. They're not turning to premium only. But we got to keep the notion out there that is a real possibility. So Snyder, I want to kick it back to you before we break it down, going tier by tier like we do each and every week. Give us a course preview. Now we're at TPC Craig Ranch. If you're looking at course history, last year it was here, but then if you go back the 2 years ago and then 3 years ago, it was at Trinity Forest, and before that it was at an even different course. So keep that in mind this week if you're looking at course history. Snyder, talk to us about the course.
Yeah, we're at TPC Craig Ranch, like he said. It's a par 72 measuring 7,468 yards. it's going to be a very easy course here. They've got 6 holes with a birdie or better percentage of greater than 40%. This is going to be a great track for bombers too. Wide fairways, little trouble out there lurking for them, so it's just going to be swing away for the big sticks here. Large greens here, bent grass greens are going to roll around 11.5 on the step meter. The track last year, the track plate is the second easiest on tour. So like we say, birdies are going to be in a lot, and then a lot of them coming here this week. Eagles as well. It should be like a putting contest, kind of like we've seen at a few events earlier in this year when we see some winning scores minus 20. Even with that one event, the winning score was in the 30s. So the par fives are very attackable here. I think birdies and eagles will be yielded pretty much to most of the golfers here. I expect at least half of the golfers to be birdieing these holes. I think the winning score is probably going to be around minus 25 again, like it was last year. We had 6 golfers at 20 under or better last year at this event. So I expect more of the same here. Some key stats we'll be looking at this week. Strokes gained approach, bombers, greens in regulation, birdies or better percentage, and opportunities gained.
Yeah, one thing I would add is the main defense of this course is wind. And, down there in Texas, you usually get a lot of wind. We've had a ton in the Midwest, probably worse than like anywhere else. I'm looking at the wind right now. It's still early. It's still very early. We got to check this as we get closer to Thursday, but I'm not seeing like that much at all, like especially for down there. I mean, we're seeing gusts of maybe 15 miles an hour. That's nothing for this area. So I agree 100% with Snyder. I think it's going to be an absolute birdie fest. I think there's going to be certain studs that we're going to talk about that just, man, we don't target them at birdie fest. And I have a feeling we're all going to be on a few similar fades here. So really excited to break it down with you two. How we do it each and every week, we go tier by tier. We're going to start with the 10K and up range. We're going to go 9K, 8K, 7K. And Hoop, I'm going to kick it off with you. Talk to us about this 10K and up range.
I think it's a very easy range to break down, honestly. I mean, at least for me, it is. Like, we've been on Scotty Scheffler. We've been playing him, for the most part, all throughout his heater. It's paid off. I see no reason to stop now. And honestly, I think DraftKings did us a favor with the price tag at 10.9, not getting into that 11K range. Yes, he's going to be owned, but, we talk about all the time. It's going to be easy to get over the field this week. We'll talk about the 6K range. I think there's guys down there. There's guys in the 7s. So Scheffler, obviously love him up top. Justin Thomas, I think this is a great price. I think Scheffler and Thomas could easily be in an 11K range of their own, and they're both under 11K. 10.6 is not a steep price tag at all. Scheffler and Thomas are the clear betting favorites here. It looks like 8-1 and 7-1 for both of them. And to me, I look at this field and they're just way better than everyone else. And there's guys that I like, below them that we'll talk about. But I think these guys are in a class of their own in terms of this field. And the price, to me, really doesn't reflect it. DraftKings did us a favor, I think, with both these guys. We know what it comes down to with Justin Thomas. I mean, I've watched this guy very closely for the last couple months. AP, he's obviously one of your favorite guys, so I know you've been tuned in on him as well. Just comes down to making a couple putts, and he's for the better part of the last couple months, he's missed almost every key putt. He's missed so many. His putting numbers are abysmal, but you look at, he's made every cut this year. He's got an 8th, a 3rd, a 6th, an 8th. 33rd is his worst finish. I guess the RBC Heritage 35th. It's just a high floor. I mean, just a super high floor. I mean, just seems so safe to be, top 20 here. Should be able to annihilate this course. I really like JT this week. So JT and Scheffler, love them both. Dustin Johnson, really haven't been playing him. I'll continue to fade him. I mean, you look at his best events recently, it's been at the Masters and the Players, 2 premier big time events. This is not that, the Byron Nelson. I just don't think that DJ gets up for the Byron Nelson. He could easily, play 2 rounds, get the hell out of here and get ready for the PGA Championship. And then Jordan Spieth, he's coming off that win at the RBC Heritage. I'm not going back to him here, though. At 10-1, I'll pass. To me, this upper tier is just very clear. I mean, it's going to be Scheffler for me. It's going to be JT. And I think they're just both way too cheap.
The crazy thing, if you guys know, I'm kind of a hybrid. I like to look at the stats, and then we're grinding and watching on ESPN Plus every single week, watching these dudes play. It's crazy. Jordan Spieth, he ranks 9th in approach, 12th in ball striking, 7th in par 5 scoring, which makes sense. The driving distance is up there. His worst categories that I'm looking at this week are birdies, and then which alludes to those putting misses, and he's probably making up for it on the par 5s. But then the putter, he's gained. I'm looking at a rolling 24 rounds. Through 24 rounds, he's lost almost 13 strokes putting, which is crazy because he has a win in that stretch too. So absolutely crazy. Spieth's like, man, I have no words on how to describe it, but it's an interesting discussion. So I don't mind fading him at all. But Snyder, let me kick it over to you. We have a small 10K and up range, just 4 guys. What are you doing with this range?
Yeah, I definitely like Scotty Scheffler quite a bit here. The kid's won 4 of his last 6 events. I mean, it's a huge shout out to Hoop, though. Back in January, he called out Scheffler's breakout this year. So big props to you. Hats off there. He just seems to be dialed in again. There was that report that came out last week. Like on Thursday, I think the report came out. Him and Ryan Palmer went and played a practice round at Southern Hills. He goes there and shoots 64. I mean, I think he could come here with like his B game with how he's playing right now and still top 5 pretty easily this week. I have no issue paying 10-9 for him. Next week, he's priced over 11K in a much stronger field.
That is the crazy part. At the PGA Championship, he's more expensive than at the Byron Nelson, whatever the hell you call it. Is it an invitational or open, whatever the fuck it is. He's more expensive at the PGA. He's more expensive at the PGA Championship. That is insane. That's a very good point.
And not trying to interrupt, but he's going to be under-owned this week. People he's going to be under-owned relative to where he should be. I mean, it's insane.
I think I'm considering just playing like 75%, maybe even locking Scotty in this range. It just comes down to if I want to play JT or not. I mean, JT's been elite with the iron play. He's averaging 3.5 strokes gained approach over his last 10 events, but like Hoop said, it just comes down to the putter. If he's not able to make enough putts here at this birdie fest, he's not going to be there in contention on Sunday. That's the only thing I slightly worry about him, but I think he's a great target. I mean, he's one of those guys that can go out there. We've seen it many times where he goes out and fires 62, 63, 60, like real low scores. And this is going to set up for that opportunity for him if he can get that putter going. So JT's definitely a guy I'm considering this week as well. DJ, I'm kind of worried about him too. I think he's a guy that can just fully hit the eject button here, especially if he starts out a little slow on Thursday. We've seen him at times on Friday, miss a putt on purpose or hit it in the water just because he didn't want to play the weekend. I could see him going down the Southern Hills a couple days early. Spieth's back in Texas. I mean, he always plays pretty well here in the Lone Star State. Finished 9th here last year and just come off that win, but he's lost strokes putting in 4 of his last 5 events. And there's no way he's going to contend here losing strokes putting. So I think I'll be off of Spieth as well. I think it's going to be mainly Scotty for me up here. Really like Scotty this week. And then I'll probably get some JT as well, but I'll be fading the other 2 guys in this range.
So, all right, Snyder, I got one question for you. Just kind of game theory, just talking out loud. Mm-hmm. What do we all know Spieth of? When we think of like the last, how long he's been, I don't know, relevant for what, 6 years, 7 years now, maybe longer. I could be way off on that time frame, but what do we know him as?
As a guy that will miss everything inside 10 feet, but he'll make the 40-footers.
All right. I was going to, you asshole. I was going to say, we know him as a good short game player and a good putter. But, yeah, I got you there. What I was getting at was we've seen this from him before, and we've seen it flip-flop the other way. And so it's I keep telling myself at one point, are we going to see it flip again? Because we know the putter is going to turn around. So for me, when I look at it, putting both of what you said together and kind of combining up in this range, because I do think this range is important. While we could see some random dude win this week, we want a guy or 2 or probably 1 for up in this range in our build. We're just going to want it. I think we're going to be able to make it work too, because there's going to be some values that we find that pop. So let me break this down. I think it's really, really simple. Let's look at the last 5 events and let's just look at what these guys are doing. Let me start with JT, 35th, 8th, 3rd, 33, 6. Now he's trending in the right direction. The putter looks good. Everything looks good. Ball strike. We know what we're getting there. So he's definitely in play. DJ, cut 12th, 39th, 9th, cut. No way. Jose, we're not playing DJ. Spieth, win, cut, 35th, cut, 26. I mean, there's a lot that could go on there. I kind of like him, but I'm torn right now. Then we go up to Scotty first. I'm going to take away the players because he got the shitty end of the wind draw there, and he still battled, which was just impressive. Like, it was crazy. First, so it was 55th, which I'm taking away. First, 7th, first. And this dude is priced basically the same as all these other guys. And his price is cheaper than what he's at, like what Hoop said, what he's at the PGA. So, I think he's going to be on their own. It's people keep like telling themselves this guy can't continue to do it. Yes, he can. He definitely can, because he doesn't give a shit. He goes to Chipotle like all of us. He's an everyday dude that comes into these events. He's just a killer, man. He's an absolute killer. I think he's just a phenomenal player, number one in the world. And there's no way I'm fading. I think fading him is just a terrible idea. Absolutely terrible. You got to have some of him. And I think it's going to be easy to get overweight on the field. So I want like 35 to 40% of them this week. And I think I'm going to be like 2.5, 3 times the field. Scotty Scheffler, my clear number one, up in this range. And I don't know a two, probably Justin Thomas, just because he feels safe. But the other thing too is like we could just get more Scotty Scheffler and get overweight on all those JT builds. But I'm going to say Scheffler, Thomas, my 1 and 2. Snyder, 1 and 2.
Scotty 1, JT 2.
Yeah, Hoop 1 and 2. Then take us down into the 9K range.
Yeah, Scotty JT. Moving into the 9K range, Hideki, he's up there at 9.9, probably going to fade him. Xander, man, I don't know what to do with Xander. Xander, all I can think about when I see Xander's name, not that they won the team event, is that fucking performance at the Masters and how pathetic it was. It was the most pathetic performance I think I've seen in terms of like a high-end golfer in a long time. I've been watching golf for a while. That was so pathetic, and I cannot get it out of my head, but he's like one of my favorite guys to play in DFS. So, man, I don't know what I'm going to do with Xander. I really don't, because it hasn't been good. I mean, it really hasn't been good outside of that, doubles event. Sammy Burns, I believe, what did he do here last year? Did he win it? Who won this last year? He had a good performance.
He got second.
Okay, he shot second under. Yeah, 2 under in the final round.
Playoff.
That's right. Okay, it seems like a course that would fit him well. I'll have some shares of Burns. I really like Zalatoris. And then Neiman, I like as well. He's kind of rounding into form. So I do like that trio of Burns, Zalatoris, Neiman. Can't do Brooksy, man. It hasn't looked good. Snyder, I know you can admit it as well. It's been a rough go for your boy. And, with him, I got to see something before I can get back on him. It has not been good. And then Tommy Fleetwood just seems overpriced at 9K. I mean, he's been playing well, but wow, he's been playing really well, actually. Holy shit, when you pull this up, he's been playing really, really well. Still don't think I'll go there with Fleetwood at 9K. I like that trio in the middle, though. Burns, Zalatoris, Neiman, and then I don't know what to do with Xander, man. I haven't decided. I keep going back and forth, but like I said, I just cannot get that vision out of my head of him at the Masters. So that's kind of where I'm at in this 9K range.
I mean, if you haven't yet, go over to Instagram. And of course, I'm going to be the one to mention this, but go look at BK's lady. I mean, there's zero chance that he cares about this event with what she's like posting and stuff. Like, you'll get what I'm saying when you go and look at this, but it's incredible. Snyder, let me kick it over to you because I agree with Hoop. I'm not playing BK here. And I'm we're usually on him at the majors and stuff, but I'm just, man, like at the Masters, he seemed just like he didn't care at all. It was really weird. Like he should have been. I can't believe he missed the cut there. But anyways, talk to us about this range. What are you doing with these guys, and what are you doing with BK this week?
Yeah, I'm not going to play BK this week. I actually hope he misses the cut this week to kind of lower his ownership next year. He was right there at the Masters, though, until he missed that 3-footer, and then he just went on stone cold tilt and just went in like 3-4 bogeys right in a row and just immediately checked out. He's such a quitter. Hopefully he's got a little more gumption at the major next week. I'll play him next week. I'm not going to play him this week. I do think this range is pretty loaded, though. I've got 4 guys here. I'm really deciding. I'm not going to play Hideki. He is under 10K, so that's appealing. He looked pretty good at the Masters, so I think he's healthy again, but I don't think I'll play him this week. I do like Xander, though. I think this is going to build off the momentum he had at the Zurich. I mean, he did look absolutely horrible in the leading up to that Zurich Classic, but his game looked pretty strong there in the best ball and the alternate shot. We've seen he can get pretty hot here. We've seen him shoot some mid to low 60s rounds. I think he's a pretty good price tag here. His win odds are pretty good compared to like Spieth, Hideki, and some of those guys above him. So I'll probably have some Xander. Burnsy's an interesting guy for me. I think Burnsy might be the most popular player on the whole slate this week. I think he could approach like 25 to 30, maybe even higher ownership. So he plays these par 5s very well. He's been putting lights out as well. He's gaining over 5 strokes putting as he won at the Valspar, and he gained 4.4 strokes at the Players, gained 6 strokes putting at the API. So the putter has just been on fire for him. He plays best on these easy to average difficulty courses too, so I definitely think Burnsy could be there at the end. I'll have some consideration to him. I really like Zalatoris here, another strong guy at this 9K range. I like his win odds here, and I think he's a guy that could be like priced at where Spieth is almost, with how well Zalatoris has been playing. 3 top 10s this year coming in off that 6th place at the Masters. Just great tee to green. 17 birdies or better over that 4 event stretch. So I think Zalatoris is the guy that can score here. Neiman's a guy I'm kind of on the fence about. I think Neiman might be the guy that gets cut out for me. I'm looking at his win odds, just comparing his win odds to like Burns, Scheffler, Zalatoris, and he's quite a bit higher on the win odds. So I think I'll just probably be off of Neiman. He does rank really well stats-wise. He's got the high birdie upside. I think he's a fairly good option here. So it's probably going to be mainly...
Keep him in the pool.
Yeah, I'll
he's
probably
good play.
For like 150.
He's a stud, man. I'm telling you, like he's up and coming. Like he's like not trying to cut in Snyder, but I think you keep him in. If you're like close teetering on, I think you keep him in.
It just depends, like if I play JT or not, how much I have room for here. I think Zalatoris is the best play in this. I do like Xander and Burnsy. I mean, I don't know if I can play all 4 of them and get overweight on all 4 of them.
Plenty of room. Just plug in the Snyder soldiers. It'd be good to go. Get those. Get your soldiers in there.
I do love the 7K range that we'll get into. I think there's some great options down there that can really open up this top tier range for us. So, yeah, it's definitely Zalatoris, Xander, and Burns will be my top guys probably.
Did you guys have any opinion on Hideki?
I'm out.
I'm out. I mean, he looks appealing under 10K finally. He looked all right at the Masters. I think he's healthy again, but I'll probably be off him as I like the guys under him better.
I think he's a guy that typically plays well down here in Texas. So I thought he was kind of intriguing as a tournament option. But for me,
the lowest owned, I think.
Willie, okay, yeah. In multi-entry formats, I think only for me. For me, I think this range is kind of easy. Brooks Koepka fade, Tommy Fleetwood fade, and I think both of you are in line there. So I love that. Tommy Fleetwood, while he's like now if you're doing the last events test, recent form, why aren't we considering him? Those conditions were tougher, because he's going off a 10th, 14th, 16th, 22nd, 20th. Very, very respectable finishes. On a Birdie Fest type event, there's no way I'm playing Tommy Fleetwood or Brooks Koepka. And I'm going to add Xander in there too. We have so many guys here that I think are just going to be so much more motivated. I go back to what Hoop said. This dude just did not look motivated at all. Why the hell am I going to play him in a Birdie Fest? No way. And he's going to get owned too. He's definitely going to get ownership. So I'm cutting Xander this week. I'm torn on Hideki, but I think the easiest play is Sam Burns. This chalk that I'm eating. I think he's the best play in this range and one of the best plays on the board. Here's what we know about Sam Burns. Look what he did at the Valspar. Won that back-to-back. he dominates these courses that he knows. He just dominates. What did he do last year? He was tied for first, and he lost in a playoff to KH Lee, like at a Birdie Fest type of event where, I mean, there's a lot of luck. This dude's going to come out, and he's going to. I do not want to be under on him. He's like one of those. If I'm looking at multi-entry formats, I could put him as kind of like a 65 to 70% or 60 to 70% type of guy. I feel very, very strongly about Burns, or just go 45%, and you're probably going to be double the field, because we know everyone wants to play everyone. All of these guys are going to get owned, which kind of, for me, caps Burns at, he's going to be under 25%. Maybe he comes in around 20 to 23. So if he's right there, we can definitely get overweight on him. So I think Burns is the best play in this range. And then Willie Zalatoris, fair price tag. And this dude he's just, you know what you're going to get. He's like you can't even call him a poor man's JT. Like if anything, he's just like right up there, like with JT right now. It's crazy. Both elite ball strikers. Honestly, Will Zalatoris has been better on approach. He ranks first in this field. He ranks first in ball striking. He ranks 9th in birdies. He ranks 14th in driving distance. So while this guy's 140 pounds soaking wet, absolutely smashes it, just bombs it. So Willie Zalatoris, phenomenal play. He's going to be chalk. I'm eating that chalk. And then Neiman is the other guy. I've just seen enough from him this year. He's good. And it's an easy course. It's a course that, I mean, he has the distance. He has everything that you need there. I think those three guys are the plays in this range, and they're the ones that I want to be overweight on. So for me, Sam Burns 1, and then it's a toss-up between Willie Z and Neiman. Snyder, you're 1 and 2.
Yeah, I just looked back quickly to see what Xander did in those best ball rounds at the Zurich. He made 6 birdies one day and 5 birdies the next day. They actually played perfect as a team. I mean,
you're trying to reel me in, aren't you?
No, actually, I think I can get off of Xander just by saying that.
There we go.
I don't think he scored that well.
Too. I'm with Hoop.
They played perfect as a team there. Like the holes that Xander didn't birdie, Cantlay birdied, and the holes that Cantlay didn't birdie, Xander birdied. So
I want to play him next week. I'm convinced he's a big game hunter. I want him to do shitty this week. And I'm going to go back to him next week, because if he does shitty this week, I think people are going to be off of him. So
I agree with that. Yeah. So I'll be on Zalatoris 1 and then Burnsy number 2 for me.
I like that. Hoop 1 and 2. Then let's keep it going. Let's go to the 8K range.
Yeah, I'm the same. Willie Z and then Mr. Sammy Burns 1 and 2. Really like them this week. 8K range, more solid options. I mean, the one guy I can fade pretty easily up top here is Adam Scott at 8-7. Don't need to play him this week. I think Gooch is an interesting option. When he makes a cut, he typically has good finishes. I mean, he has had some missed cuts in there, the Players, and then the Genesis, but outside of that, 14th at the Masters, 7th at the Arnold Palmer, 26th at the Waste Management, 20th at the Farmers. Made cut typically equals a good outing for him. 8.6K, I think, is a fair price tag. I like this course for him. I'll be on some Gooch. Johnny Vegas is a guy playing phenomenal golf right now. I mean, 4 straight made cuts, 4 straight, T27 or better finishes. I guess one was the Corrales, the Punta Cana, but that's fine. Wells Fargo 15th, Valero 18th. I'm going to be on Johnny Vegas this week. Kokrak undecided. I think he's interesting at 8-3. I think he could come in pretty low on with some of these other guys in this range. Jason Day, I'll keep fading Day. If he reels off good performance this week, good for him. I'm definitely fading him. But really like the guys under him. Aaron Wise at 8.1K. We were on him early on in the season, relatively disappointing, but we've seen back-to-back solid finishes for him. 21st at the RBC, 6th in Mexico. I think he could find a lot of success at this course. One of my favorite plays, Adam Hadwin. I've been riding Adam Hadwin for, 4 or 5 weeks here, and the results have been phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal. 9th at the Players, 7th at the Valspar, 4th at Valero, 26th at RBC. The guy's on a heater right now. I mean, just an absolute heater. 8K, I like him. And then, I played Cameron Champ at that Mexico event. guys playing solid right now. And this is a course, no real penalty off the tee. You can just absolutely bomb it out there. I will be on Cameron Champ this week. So to me, this range is very, very strong. Struggling to find cuts, honestly. Like, I'm fine being off Scott. I'm fine being off Jason Day, but man, I kind of like everyone else in this range. So, I got to see when it comes to building teams, how many of these guys can I play? Can I get over the field on all the guys I like? So as it stands, though, it's going to be hard for me to cut any of these guys.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you arm in arm in this range. J Day, we're not playing him. What a crazy, first few rounds he had.
Yeah.
And then absolutely, shit himself. But
yes,
that's what he does. It's what he does. It's crazy. Yeah. So, I agree with basically everything that you said. Really strong range. Snyder, what are you doing? Maybe you can help us get a little different here in this 8K range.
Yeah, there's 8 guys in this range. I'm really looking at 4 of the guys. I'm undecided on Aaron Wise. I think he's going to be pretty popular. He's coming off that 6th place finish. The putter is coming back for him over the last 2 events. He did struggle with that in a few events leading up to the last 2. So that's good. I just kind of get worried about playing chalk Aaron Wise if he ends up being pretty chalky. I think he'll probably be 15 to 20%, which isn't that much. I mean, you can still likely get overweight on him. I do like Johnny Vegas quite a bit here. He's kind of heating up. When he gets on these little rolls, he's a streaky golfer. He likes to get going. He plays well in Texas. He's went 4th, 18th, and 15th in his last 3 events. He was 3rd in greens and regulation here last year en route to a 9th place finish. So I like Mr. Vegas there. I think Hadwin has some pretty big birdie upside too. Over his he has high birdie upside, 18 plus birdies in his last 4 events, finishing inside the top 10 in 3 of those events. Fair price tag for him in 8K. I think I'll have quite a bit of exposure to him. Cam Champ's a guy that I think he'll be like probably one of the lowest owned guys in this range. I could see him being like 6 to 10% ownership or somewhere in that range. I think he'll be lower owned than Hadwin and Wise for sure. I think he's got that big birdie upside. He's coming off a 10th place at the Masters, 6th place at Mexico. He's really long off the tee. He can bomb off the tee, and there's little trouble here for him to worry about. So I like Champ as a GPP play quite a bit in this range. I do like Taylor Gooch. I think he's a pretty strong option here. I don't think I'm going to play Kokrak. Not going to play Day. Not going to play Scott. My favorite guys in this range, I think, is going to be Hadwin, Vegas, and Champ right now. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with Aaron Wise yet.
Yeah, so agree with you guys quite a bit. Scott, fade. Day, fade. Those, for me, are the easy fades. My favorite play, very similar to you guys, Johnny Vegas. He's just, man, he played well here last year. He's rounding into form. T15, T18, 4th, 27th, his last 4 events. He ranks 9th in driving distance, 6th in approach, 1st overall in par 5 scoring, which is going to be huge this week. I mean, Johnny Vegas checks every single box. And our boy Cam, it's his birthday, and he's going to Vegas for his birthday. So we got to play the narrative with Johnny Vegas this week. Taylor Gooch, I think on these easier I think Taylor Gooch is good, but where he shines is on these easier courses. And I guess, looking back, he's actually played well on harder courses too. I mean, he had a phenomenal showing at the Masters, but Gooch, definitely someone I'm high on. Kokrak is, I think he's the one that ends up pretty low owned in this range. We know he has winning upside. He won 2 or 3 tournaments last year. And we know he has the ability to win in Birdie Fest. And so you would think on paper that he checks a lot of boxes at this place, but he hasn't done that at all this year. And so while I think what happens is that is going to lower his ownership, obviously. And so he's going to be a multi-entry tournament play for me. I don't know if I could put him on a main team though, but 8,300 relative to like where he was last year definitely feels cheap. So I'm not fading him. I want to get over the weight, the field, and I don't think it's going to take much to do. I think I can get 15% of them and feel pretty good. Like, I don't think 15% is going to really kill me, and I'm going to be at least double the field. So that's kind of where I'm at with him. And then for me, it gets a little tougher down here. Outside, actually, Champ. Look, like, so he was battling an injury, I believe, and it seems like he's like fully healthy now, and he dominates these courses that are driver friendly, that are birdie fests, where we have a lot of par fives that are easy to score on. I mean, he ranks first in driving distance, absolutely bombs it. He's money on par fives. He was excellent at the Mexico Open, which I'm not saying this is like a comparable course, but it's a longer course. This isn't a short track, 7,400 yards, par 72. So driving distance is definitely going to play a role. Champ's someone I want, 15, 20%. He's definitely someone that could be in contention come Sunday. So love him. And Aaron Wise, I mean, he won here, which when it was at Trinity Forest, obviously got his first win there. Wasn't as successful here last year, but I like what I've seen, the last couple of events that he's been at. So he's going to make the player pool. And then I'm not like Adam Hadwin is just someone that it's like, I don't know. I don't really see how you fade him. He's just a good play. Like, am I going to lock him in? No, but he's going to be in the pool. So I don't think he's my favorite in this play in this range. My only knock on him is driving distance. He's not very long off the tee, but I don't think that's going to matter for him because he's so good on approach and he's so good at scoring and he's so good on par five. So, and these par fives are all relatively short. Like, I think most of the field's going to be able to get there to be able to attack these par fives. So if I were to say my 1 and 2 in this range, it's got to be Johnny Vegas 1 and it's got to be Cam Champ 2, but it's close there with Taylor Gooch. Those guys for me are very, very close. Snyder, you're 1 and 2 in this 8K range.
I think I'm going to go Johnny Vegas as well, 1, but I think I'm going to go Adam Hadwin 2.
Yeah, very good. Like that. Who you're 1 and 2, and then take us down, and we're kind of flying through this. Take us down to the 7K range.
Yeah, it's same guys. I mean, it's going to be Hadwin 1 for me, and then Vegas 2. I mean, it's a strong range. I mean, it's a strong field this week. A lot of good plays. 7K range is it's a big range. A lot. We didn't have a lot of guys in the 8K range. We have a lot of guys in the 7K range. I'll kind of name off some fades and some of my favorite plays here. Right at the top, Seamus Power. Man, kind of torn on Power. The results recently really haven't been that good. He's missed, it looks like 4 out of his last 6 cuts.
I think I got a pretty good read on Seamus Power here.
Yeah. I'll listen to what you have to say. As of now, I'm probably fading him, but we'll see. Just because I really like some of these other plays. Really like Norin. Absolutely love Mav. Like Mav at 7.8K, probably one of my favorite plays in this entire field. I think he has a chance to win this week. So in on him. Leishman, I think is a play here for me. A name down here, it seems like he could be in the 8K range, but he's 7.8. I think getting a little bit of a bargain on him. The Lanto play is interesting. Been playing very solid lately. Kind of a streaky type guy. I think he's interesting. Not playing Kuchar here. I will be on my boy Mito. I'm going to be on my boy Munoz. I think Keith Mitchell's a good play. Screwed a lot of people last week, but this course suits him much, much better. I think he could bounce back and have a very nice performance. Not going to be on Bezaden, who, at 7-4. Not going to play Ian Poulter. Luke List, I think, is potentially a play. I think this course could fit him pretty well. Was 31st last week at a course that really doesn't fit his game. I think he could bounce back with a strong performance here at 7.2K. Mr. Matty Wolf staring me right in the eye. AP, he got off that hot start last week, and I immediately texted. I said, "Please tell me you played him." And he said, "I'm so committed. I play him every week. Minimal percentage, but he's pot committed." Interesting play, I think, at 7.2. If he really did find something last week, this course fits him so much better. So much better. 7.2. I think he's interesting. Kazire, I do like a lot. One of Snyder's soldiers, Mr. Sahith Thigala at 7-1, I think, is a strong option. And then my boy Nick Taylor. Got to play Nick Taylor. He bounced back nicely last week. Finished 15th at the Wells Fargo. He's just one of my guys. I mean, if he's on, I mean, you guys know if Nick Taylor's in the field, Hoop's playing him. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. So I do like Nick Taylor. And the last guy I think is somewhat interesting, Patrick Rogers, 10th at the Mexico Open. Again, I think this is a course that could kind of suit his game pretty well. So, I mean, it is a very loaded range. You can't play all these guys. Those are just a few of the names that I'm kind of looking at here.
We have a read on like Matt Wolf's ownership, because like part of like the equation there is like he was 1.5% owned last week. So my reasoning for getting 7 to 8% of them is it's not going to kill me, and I'm going to be 3 to 4 times the field, which is plenty fine. But like if he's popular, then it's a different debate. It's a completely different debate.
I think you're looking at, he's not going to be 0.5% owned this way. I think like 5% is probably where he ends.
Okay, 5%.
That's
so
my guess, 5.
Now it's more of a discussion because you need at least probably 10%, or get in line and just so he doesn't beat you. But yeah, really interesting discussion point. Snyder, take us through this 7K range, and make sure you mention and talk about Seamus Power, because I'm definitely interested as well, because he was a guy I was looking at.
Yeah, I think my thoughts on Mav might come as a surprise here. I mean, he's been super consistent. 20 of his last 21 made cuts.
Should I just mute this? Because if you talk Phil about your boy Mav, I'm honestly going to be devastated.
Wait. You're talking bad about Mav? Like he's high up on my list.
Hold on.
Oh no.
So I think Mav's going to be Mav's going to be the highest owned guy in this range pretty easily. I think he'll probably reach like 20, maybe 20, low 20% ownership. I think he makes for he's a great cash.
This conversation every week.
Yeah.
I'm the worst when it comes to ownership. Do you really think he's going to be 20%?
I think everybody's talking Mav up. Yeah, I think he's going to definitely be 20%. I would almost lay money that
my thing too is
the thing though, there's so many guys.
Yeah, I mean, you
got right above him, you got Wise, Hadwin, champs and play. People are going to play Noren. People will definitely play Leishman. People will play Lanto.
Yeah.
Like I personally don't think it's that high. Could be wrong. I think maybe like if I had to put a number on him, I'd say like
17.
I'd say like 14%.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my guess though.
I'm just looking at his average finishes. I've looked at his last 10 events. Mav's median finish over the last 10 events is 30.7. So if he does get popular, I mean, I think he's a great cut maker play, but I don't think he's gonna like burn me if say he finishes 25th, 30th, somewhere in that range. I don't think that's going to – I think there's other guys in this range with the same median outcome, like Siwoo Kim. I think he's the same play almost. He's made 13 straight cuts, pretty much the same medium outcomes over to this last similar events. He just needs the putter to heat up for him, but he'll probably be in my player pool. But I do I have a ton of conviction on Mr. Seamus Power, actually. I've been patiently waiting for another Birdie Fest to deploy him, and it's finally here. I mean, we were on him big early to start the year, and I think this is the spot where, I mean, he miscut last week, kind of burned some people. I think his ownership will probably be like under 10% now after he burned a lot of people, and not many people are really talking him up. He had that run early in the year where he just crushed those Birdie Fest events. He averaged 22 birdies per event in a 4-event stretch and had 5 straight top 15s in that stretch too. So I think Power's a guy that can maybe even contend to win this event. I was looking at his odds to win. They were kind of similar to.
No, they're the same as Hideki Matsuyama.
Yeah, I was going to say
that into perspective.
Seamus Power's win odds were similar to some of these guys in that 9K range and 8K range.
Same,
so I think
same as Brooks Koepka too.
Yeah,
there you go.
So
that is wild. I fully disagree with that. That's
Seamus. Yeah, he finished T9 here last year. He shot 18 under here. I think that's in the realm of outcome here for him again this week. So I'll have pretty high conviction on Seamus. I'll at least be double the field on him. Lanto's another guy I'm kind of looking at. He's heating up off that 6th place finish last week. 15th the week before. He played really well early in the year too on those Birdie Fest type events. I think he's another pretty strong option down here. Mito Pereira is another guy I'm looking at here. 9th in greens and regulation for the last 24 rounds. Ranks out really well in the ball striking metrics. 27th, 13th, and 26th in his last 3 starts. Sepp Straka, I like the flop leg with him here. Coming off that missed cut last week. I mean, it was really hurtful. I think he bogeyed 18 to miss the cut by 1, which is really hurtful. I was pretty high on him last week. He's got pretty strong birdie upside, though. Ranks 7th in greens and regulations, 10th in birdies or better percentage, and 3rd in putting over the last 24 rounds. So I'll have some Sepp Straka. KH Lee, another TPC track for him. He crushes these TPC tracks. 25th last week at the TPC track. He had the irons and putter working last week. He did struggle a little bit around the green, but he won this event last year. Doesn't look to be too popular at the moment either. He shot 25 under here last year. I think he'll probably be somewhere around like 4 to 7% ownership or something like that. So I'll have some KH. CT Pan's another guy I like this week. He was one of the soldiers. His game's trending upward. He's went 42nd, 29th, and 15th last week. So I like how the irons have been getting hot for him. He's gained putting in back-to-back weeks as well. So I'll have some CT Pan this week. Patton Kazire down here. Just another guy playing solid golf. Third here last year, shot minus 21. He did shoot 9 under on the final day. But he's got solid odds to win here for his price tag. Good value at the bottom of this price range, I think. Sahith Theegala, I think he's too cheap here. One of my soldiers. 5 straight made cuts with 3 top 25 finishes. He's got 2 top 10s this year as well. He's gained over 4 strokes tee to green in his last event, so I like Sahith.
He's like definitely a Snyder boy. Like
Yeah.
Snyder's got the poster up of Sahith.
Oh, yeah.
Just, you got one up on the ceiling too.
He almost got that win earlier in the year, but I think
Yeah.
he's battle tested. I do like Brandon Wu down here too. He missed cut last week after 4 straight solid events. He had 2 top 5s in those 4 solid events he had there. You can get hot with the putter too, which will be needed here. Ranks top 5 in greens and regulation over the last 24 rounds. So I like Brandon Wu kind of off that flop leg last year. So I like a lot of those other guys you had mentioned. I think Luke List is a good
You're not even going to mention your
option.
boy, Kurt Kitayama.
Kurt Kitayama's down there too. I mean, this range is just freaking loaded. There's so many guys. Like Hoop talked about Nick Taylor, Kurt Kitayama, JJ Spawn. I mean, there's definitely some tough decisions to be made here because, like Hoop said, you can't play them all, so you got to kind of pick your soldiers and roll.
Yeah, I do agree though. Like I think for me, a lot of these ranges are clear cut this week, and the last couple weeks I've kind of had issues like getting my player pool down to the range that I like. I don't think that's going to be an issue this week because I do think the cuts are more easier for me. My problem is going to be how high do I want to, like, who do I want to make my highest owned golfers? So let me first go back up through here because we gotta fix a couple. We gotta settle a few things. So all right, Snyder, your boy Mav. That was the first thing that I wrote down. Mav is all right. So Snyder, you got to play Mav this week. Like this dude he's built for these tracks that are easy. Birdie Fest, Fortinet Championship, 2nd place. The 3M Open, 16th. It was a Birdie Fest though, and he scored really well. So those points added up. Mm-hmm. John Deere, 18th. Rocket Mortgage, 21st. Houston Open, 19th. Mayakoba, 11th. This dude destroys these easy courses. Mav, I think, is a phenomenal play. Hopefully, Hoop, you're on that same path because Mav is very high up on my list.
I think he wins this week, so yeah.
Yeah, I got to add him then.
There we go.
Wins.
We're talking Snyder into playing his boy. You love to absolutely see it.
Maybe I was overthinking it.
I don't think he's going to look at all the guys in this range within $300 of him that are going to be owned. Like I don't see anyone here getting I could be wrong. I mean, maybe he gets up there. But I'm going to be for me, it doesn't matter if he's 20 because I'm going to be far beyond that number. So if he's 20, whatever, I don't give a shit. I'm over no matter what.
Then Lanto Griffin, I had wrote him off, and I think it was Big T that got on him at the Mexico Open, and I thought it was a bad play, but T15th, he was good. And then he was good last week. Lanto's back. I'm back on Lanto too. And the one thing Lanto does is goes low on Sunday. So, and he plays these birdie fests really well. So I love him. Mito is like the guy that's going to get ownership in this range. And he sucks at making birdies. Like when I'm looking at everything, he ranks almost dead last in this field in making birdies. He just is like it goes out, doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And I think like I'm getting major booze and hoozing vibes from Mito Pereira. He is a Texas guy, and which is going to boost his ownership up. But I might have to cut him. I got him. What's funny is Snyder. We got a good start on the playbook, and I got him in the top 5 rankings for the cheap tier. And now that I'm going through it, I'm like, I don't like him that much. So. Opinions change. You go through this pool a couple times and, you dial in your thoughts and it happens. Sebastian Munoz, another guy I like to play on Birdie Fest. I'll have a little bit of him. Sepp Straka. Now I'm, he's, obviously, won me some money. I love him. I don't like what I saw last week at all. I think I'm selling high on him. I think I'm gonna be off of him. Now the last time I did this, he was good at the RBC. So maybe the Wednesday show, if all of those guys are high on him, maybe I'll get back on him. But I'm showing high ownership. Now I'm bad at ownership projections, so I got to go to you guys. I'm showing over 10%, like closer to 12%. What do you guys think Sepp Straka comes in at?
I think lower after missing. I think he's probably
lower, under 10,
5%ish, maybe, honestly, because this range. I mean, there's just so many guys down here, and he missed the cut last week. Was semi-popular. I think he's 5 to 8%.
Yeah, I was gonna guess 7%, so I'm right on board with that.
Yeah. So I mean, if he's not going to be higher owned, then I mean that's a different discussion. But I still am concerned because he was riding such a hot putter and his approach game was good enough, but honestly, the putter was just phenomenal. And last week it was like the dude couldn't buy a putt. And when your putter goes, it can be a mental thing and can kind of stick with you from time to time. So that's definitely concerning for me. Bezaden out, never playing him here. Kevin Kisner, not playing him. Keith Mitchell, I think, is a fine play. Kurt Kitayama, this dude's playing good. I know the bit's going strong, Snyder, but your boy, T2 at the Mexico Open, which big boy course, easy scoring, which we're going to see this week, and then a T15 at the Wells Fargo. I would not be surprised if like Kurt Kitayama won this week. I with the form that he's in, he ranks 11th in driving distance, 3rd on approach, and 4th in birdies made over his last 24 rounds. The putter looks good. A lot looks good about his game. So I like him quite a bit. CT Pan, I'm fine with him. Patton Kazire, dude, just plays phenomenal here in Texas. I mean, played good here last year too. T3, I think I have him actually ranked as the top play in the cheap tier range, and he's 7,100. And, the odds 100 to 1, I think he's like a good guy that you could bet on to win, because I could see him winning a Birdie Fest type event where it's up for anyone. And then Sahith on him as well, one of Snyder's boys. And then, Matt Wolf, it's like my thing with him is, if you look at what he's done in his early career, obviously he has middle demons that he's battling and stuff, but his resume so far, if you discount or dismiss the last 7 events, it showed signs of life last week. But if you go back in those last 7 events, it was painful, a hurtful time. But I've always said it, get him on an easy course where you get a driver in hand, and that's going to give you an advantage. And it's a birdie fest. That's where you play him. And if his ownership is going to be low, the Detroit Open, or the 3M, all those courses that are just easy birdie fests where he doesn't have to think very much and he can pull driver at every hole. Like I saw on these par 5s, even last week, I saw it where he couldn't take driver. He was in shambles because he was laying up and stuff, and it just throws him off his game. So you need an easy course where there's not a lot of trouble, and that's where you're going to play him. And the dude ranks like 2nd in driving distance in this field. And honestly, I think him and Cameron Champ will go toe to toe. This dude hits it like 360. Cam Champ's up there too. I mean, those dudes just absolutely bomb it off the tee, and I want bombers this week. So everyone knows what's crazy when you look at the stats, which I always do. He, driving distance second in this field. Everything else sucks. Like approach, ball striking, everything sucks. But the putter is good. He's gained 12 strokes over his last 24 rounds. So at least the putter's kind of saving him and bailing him out. And what that also tells me, because I know everyone's annoyed of a Matt Wolf rant that no one wants to hear, and that I'm going to get a lot of shit for, which is fine, is if he can figure out the ball striking, we know all the other parts of his game have been there because they've been kind of carrying him through, missing cuts and stuff. But so Matt Wolf, I think, is a good play. I'm not going to he's not like a workbench type play or anything like that. I just think he's a guy that you get overweight on and it's not going to be hard to do. And the course fits him very well. So my favorite plays in this range are 1, Patton Kazire, and then 2, I'm going to switch it up. I love our boys up there. Oh, hold on. The one guy I didn't talk about, and I don't think any of us talked about, and I have it circled and starred, and I feel like this guy is just going to be forgotten about. Like, hopefully he didn't withdraw or something, but Davis Riley, 7,700. This dude finished 5th at the Mexico Open. Absolutely bombs it off the tee, makes a ton of birdies. I think he's a phenomenal play here. 2nd at the Valspar also. It's obviously he's missed some cuts, but the dude showed a ton of upside, and I think he's going to be sub 5% owned. So Davis Riley, definitely a very good play. But I'm going to go Patton Kazire and then Kurt Kitayama for my 1 and 2. But I'm not going to go crazy in this range. Like, I don't think my highest owned player is definitely not going to come from this range. So really like those 2 guys. Snyder, kick it back to you. You're 1 and 2 in the 7K range.
I'm going to go Seamus Power 1 and then Sahith Theegala 2.
Yeah, I like that a lot. 2 guys I'm going to have a ton of as well. Hoop, 1 and 2 in this range. And then let's keep it going. Let's finish off with the 6K range.
One's going to be Mav. Really like Mav, obviously. And then 2, it's tough. There's a lot of good guys. I'm going to go Munoz. I really like Munoz at 7-6 this week. 6K range, I think there's definitely some guys that we can play. Sometimes 6K range is weak. Sometimes it's strong. I think it's actually a strong range this week. Wrote down some names here that I like. Steven Yeager's a guy that's been playing well. 6.9K, back-to-back solid finishes. He was 15th at the Mexico Open and then 6th last week at the Wells Fargo. I think he can continue on this upward trend. Grayson Sigg, I think the course fits him well. Last week wasn't the best course fit for him. Missed the cut. I think this week he bounces back. Been playing a lot of Mark Hubbard. I think he can play well here. Makes a lot of eagles. I mean, I don't know if it's just been super fluky, but the last couple of events he's made a ton of eagles, and we have 4 par 5s here. So interested in him. Hudson Swafford, I think, is a great play. At where's he at 6-7? I mean 4 straight made cuts for Swafford. I think he's a solid option. Our boy Smotherman, been playing Smotherman a lot. 6.6K. He's made 3 straight cuts, 5 out of 6 it looks like, in 25th last week at the Wells Fargo. I mean, our boy Snyder, Mr. Malnati, just continues to make cuts for us. I mean, just an absolute hero. 6.6K, 4 straight made cuts, 5 out of 6. Love Malnati. I mean, I think just a safe bet to make the cut for us. I'm gonna go back to Svensson. It hasn't been the greatest ride recently for Svensson, but he's cheap and just have some faith in his game. Trey Molinex, long off the tee. I think he could find some success at this course. And then a guy I really don't know much about. I just know he hits it far off the tee, and he's been playing pretty well. Is this Callum Tarrant, if that's how you pronounce his name? 3 straight made cuts. Made the cut last week at the Wells Fargo. Not a course that really fit him all that well, but he's a guy I have some interest in. And last guy I wanted to mention, Mr. Norlander, 6.2K, and a guy that I think that this course fits him well. I mean, he's pretty long off the tee as well, can bomb it out there, and he's basically the minimum price. I mean, 6.2K. So I don't know. I think it's a pretty strong range. I'm going to play a lot of these guys down here this week.
I'm This is the one area I disagree with you this week. So man, I'm struggling down in the 6K range. So I might need to assign the notebook play to Mr. Hoopster because I'm really
I got
struggling.
some options for you. If
you
want me to sub in this week,
I might need a sub. Yeah,
right.
Definitely might need a sub. So we'll get back to you. This
Let me
range
know.
for me is definitely struggling. So Doc Redman was like my favorite guy in this range, and I don't feel confident about him at all. So Snyder, kick it over to you real quick. 6K range. What are you doing down here?
Yeah, I like Jaeger, like Hoop said. Kind of a rough start, rough stretch there, but he's been pretty solid here lately, 15th and then 6th. I think he's a solid option down there. Ches Reeves coming off of back-to-back top 15s the last 2 weeks. The irons have came around for him in those last two events, 4.7 and 3.9 strokes gained approaching those two events. So I like Ches there. Hudson Swafford, I like him for sure. He's made his last 4 cuts, 3 finishes of 36 or better. He won the Amex back in January where he made 29 birdies and an eagle. So I'll have some consideration for Swafford down there. Mr. Malnati for sure. 22 birdies in Mexico. He got 15th there, so I like him. Dude just continues to make cuts for us. Smotherman, a Smeller goat down there. He's a great iron player, solid birdie upside. I like him. Bo Hostler, he missed a cut last week, or he missed a cut in the last 2 events, actually. But he does have some pretty.
What did he shoot? Yeah, 77.
No, it wasn't good.
Look at his last 4 rounds at the Heritage.
Oh.
I mean, I thought about playing him, but then I looked at his last 2 results.
Oh, yeah.
79.
He's a Texas guy, right?
Is he?
I think he's from Texas, yeah.
Yeah, he needed to save his life because he's been a disaster. 79, 75, 77, 77. I did look at him earlier. I was like, man, that's
pretty brutal. I was just looking at him for his upside, as he's had a couple top 5s and 4 top 20s here this year. So maybe a guy you sprinkle in a little bit there in the cheaper range. I do like Scott Piercy. He's one of the soldiers this week. His game's trending in the right direction after a pretty rough start this year. He's made 3 straight cuts. Highlighted by that 12th place finish at the Heritage. I think he's a guy, if he gets hot, he can make some birdies. So I'll have some Scott Piercy down here. Some other guys that I was considering down here. I was looking at Grayson Sigg for a little bit. Maybe Pat Perez, 6'7". He's one of those guys that commented earlier in the year about how much harder it is to retain your PGA card. I mean, this is a birdie fast type deal. I think this is a spot where he can make the cut and maybe make a little bit of a charge. I mean, hopefully he's probably looking at this, definitely eyeing the made cut here. Hank the Tank's down there.
Your tour card, you know who's going to lose his Chesson Hadley. This dude sucks. Man,
you know what he needs?
He needs some hoop. He's got to go play with hoop a little bit.
Here's what could resurrect his career: a Pro-Am partnership with Hoopster. Get him back on track.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, he was playing good then, man. He was playing really good.
Yeah, that was at his prime. He fell apart after we got rained out.
I do have some consideration in Hank the Tank down there. That's pretty much it. Maybe some Joseph Bramlett. He looks pretty cheap down there at 6'5". I think he's a GPP target to consider. He got 7th here last year.
The crazy thing is so on Thursdays, I always do that thing where I post I like posting the golf team and our, ownerships compare, it always lines up with kind of what we talk about on the show, which is always nice to see, but I like to see where everyone's at. I think it just makes us all better. And, but then I always go and review, I always see who played the most golfers. It's always the same dude every single week. And actually, I think he's he has some monster wins out there, but it's just funny because he's playing everyone in the field and it makes 0 sense at all. But it's gonna definitely make even less sense this week. Justin Leonard is in the field this week. There's some dust balls. Cooper Dozy, Jonas Blitt. These dudes have 0 chance of making the cut. So how is Justin Leonard in this field? Do you guys know that? Or this must be a different Justin Leonard, right?
No idea. I mean, I didn't know he was still around.
You didn't get, I didn't either. I mean, I don't know if someone in chat can help us out. Someone's probably laughing, but I would make fun of them for even knowing about that because who cares? But yeah, I struggled with this range. Scott Piercy, I like that call, Snyder. Like I was looking at like Ryan Armour plays good in Texas sometimes. He's old. I worry about the distance here. I really do. And about the birdies that had to be made. Austin Smotherland, I think he's a good play. Underpriced relative to where he should be when you look at how he's playing. Doc Redman, I had checked, like I said, but I don't feel good about it. Like there's just, man, his game is like off. He can perform in Birdie Fest, but then Snyder, I thought you would mention this guy, and I don't know if I'm gonna say his name right, but Jo Young Kim or Jo Hung Kim. I believe he's one of the top Korean guys, kind of up and coming, 6,900. I don't think anyone's gonna play him, but a guy that I was looking at just included in the pool. But honestly, I don't have a ton of interest down in this range. I just feel like the 7K range, 8K range, I feel like those range are so much stronger this week, but I'm definitely not fading this range. I think what I'm going to do is limit and make sure that I'm not playing 2 6K guys in any one lineup. So I'll probably have Scott Piercy. I'll probably have a lot of the guys that you talked about in my pool, that have been treating us very well. So, and Bo Hostler, I almost might include him just because I know in Texas he's played better, and no one's going to play him. Like he might be like 0.2% owned. So I kind of like that call. He would be one of my, when I build 150, I make my minimum ownership 5% on any one guy. He would definitely be a 5% max type guy for me. So
yeah, he resides in Austin. I just seen. And another thing, like on Justin Leonard, I just pulled his deal up on Fantasy National. His last registered event was 2017.
So maybe it's a different Justin Leonard. Is it, or
Fantasy National had that Justin Leonard in the field.
All right.
I'm not sure though. I mean,
he's an annoying broadcaster in my opinion. So he's just super, super cocky, super arrogant, always talks about himself and like how
come
good
out and
he
shoot
was.
85.
Yeah, he's
Right,
gonna get
out of the
absolutely
booth.
dusted. So yeah, I don't like have a strong like 1 and 2 down in this range. So I'm gonna defer to you guys. So Snyder, let's start with you.
I'm gonna go Hudson Swafford 1, and then Scott Piercy 2.
Yeah, I like that. Swafford. Yeah, definitely like that. Hoop. Let's go to you and let's see this notebook play.
All right, I'm gonna go for the 1 and 2. It's gonna be Smotherman and then Mr. Malnati.
But the notebook play, let me just pull it up here. The official, my first ever, there's a lot of pressure actually. First ever notebook play of the week is going to be Callum Tarrant, 6.4K, very long off the tee. This course should fit him really, really well. So notebook play of the week, Callum Tarrant. Sign us up.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to make sure to play him this week. Like that call quite a bit. Let's get to the winners, boys. We always, each and every week, we pick who we think is going to win. Then we like to give you a little bit of a long shot that you can put a small amount of money on to win you a large sum of money. And shout out to our boy Uncle T, who was all over Max Homa last week. I believe he had $100 on that, right, for 4K.
I think something like that.
So I'm like, Uncle T, shout out to you, my man. Really great bet. And I think this is going to be another good week to just fire. Like, look at the past winners here. Cage Lee won last year. He was battling a Sam Burns type down the stretch, in a playoff. But, we've seen, kind of randoms, unknowns come and win here, especially in these Birdie Fest events. So, Snyder, if you're ready, let's start with you.
Yeah, I think Scotty Scheffler is going to win the event again. It's going to be his 5th win in 7 events, but I can't bet the 7-1. So I'm going to go with my guy Seamus Power as my favorite to win at 35-1 odds. And then for a long shot, I'm going to go with Cameron Champ. I think 65-1 is too good of a price tag for him over on DraftKings. I think he was right there in that last event. He had a triple, I think, that took him out of contention there on like hole 12, I believe, but he was right there through Sunday. I think he's a guy at 65 to 1. I like his win odds at a type of course where he can overpower, I think, off the tee.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. Hoop, let's go over to you.
Yeah, just pulled up the odds here on DraftKings, and I really like Neiman at 35 to 1. It's a good number for him. You know, the other guys in that range, like Burns is 20 to 1. Zalatoris is 14 to 1. Wow. So Neiman at 35 to 1, I think is a really good bet. I like him. And then long shot, Luke List, 130 to 1. And he's shown to have winning upside this season. So I like that bet, 131 on Luke List.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Did Philly like go out a lot? Like, here's the problem with having a series in Miami. Like, were those dudes partying down there at the Miami clubs last night? Because 105 to 70 something.
Jeez.
They're
Love
getting
to see it,
fucking-
especially
they're
when you
getting
got
spanked.
a Heat championship ticket.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, the Heat's just don't let Kyle Lowry play. Let these other dudes play. They're better than him right now. So, I'm with you guys actually. So, if Scotty Scheffler wins a Birdie Fest type of event, Snyder, that would be like, I think he's going to be right there, and I think we're going to want exposure. Like, I think he's like top 10 for sure for him, but. I'm going Sam Burns. So like Sam Burns, he won the Valspar back-to-back. He should have won this last year. I think he's going to be extra motivated. I think like he had this, this win in the bag. And I think that's going to give him some extra motivation this week. So I'm showing 22 to 1 on DraftKings. I really like those odds on him, unless those odds have changed. And longer shot one, I'm going to go with your boy, Snyder. I'm going to go Kurt Kitayama. I had it up. Now I can't find it. Hold on. Let me look over here. Kurt, you guys know
100 to 1.
100 to 1. There we go. Kurt Kitayama. I'm going to go with him. Just kind of that unknown factor. He's looked really good long off the tee. I like him as a long shot. Snyder, final thoughts.
Looking forward to this event. I think it's going to be a fun event with a lot of action here. We're going to see a ton of scoring here, so it'll be interesting to see a ton of scoring before the next week's major. Looking forward to that as well. Next week, we're going to have a lot of content rolling out for that. I'll be on the Mayo Media Network for the Showdown shows on Thursday and Friday again. I really enjoy doing that. I think we've been pretty much spot on with those. Looking forward to that. There'll be I'm not sure who's on. Hoop, are you going to do the Thursday one?
Yeah, I'll be on Thursday with you. Yep.
Me, Hoop, and Tambo on the Thursday. And then Friday, it'll be me, Uncle T, and Big Rob. So that one's been good as well. So looking forward to that. Just ready for this event. And then next week, we get the main course with the major.
Yeah, very good. Hoop, final thoughts this week.
Yeah, it's a nice warm-up to the PGA Championship. Solid field. I mean, it seems like it's been a few weeks where, we haven't had the best fields. Now we get a solid field. I think you can find solid plays in every tier, and then, rolls into the PGA Championship. So I'm looking forward to this. I think most of these guys have motivation to come out and perform well this week. Like I said, looking forward to this event.
Yeah, I echo all of those statements. I think it's going to be a fun week. I think we're going to see a lot of scoring. Some people don't like that, but I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a good change up. We've had tough scoring. Last week, the conditions were just brutal. And you know what? It's fun sometimes to change things up. Like, some people always bitch and complain about like Birdie Fest, and then I see the same people bitching and complaining about like terrible conditions. So you know what? It is what it is, and we just got to get through it each week. And you know what? We're gonna buckle down and find the winners. I'm very confident this week. Keep in mind, though, these Birdie Fests, they are, there's a lot of random things that can happen. So keep that in mind. Build a tight core. I feel very good about the 7K, 8K, 9K range. And it's going to be interesting to see where those top guys come in ownership-wise for me with how strong those ranges are. So yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun. The playbook's going to be out tomorrow. Core plays will be up tomorrow. Cash chart will be up tomorrow. We got the premium show with Tambo Big T and Uncle T tomorrow over at rumpiersports.com. Make sure to go and check all of that out. I'm AP. That's Snyder. That's Hoop. Simon, get us out of here.